Wasting the money on that.
Hey, Chief,
To a certain degree, he's got a certain information.
I just have to tell you what a good job your deputy did on the radio. He really did. He was I thought he was really relaxed. He said it was his first time doing something.
Be suspicious of that.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'd like to call the November 7th, 2022 Crest Hill City Council meeting to order at 7 p.m. If everyone would please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with
Liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, please.
Ray Solomon,
Here.
Glenn Conklin.
Present.
Scott Dyke.
Here.
John Verche. Here. Darrell Jefferson.
Here.
Claudia Gazal.
Here.
Tina Oberlin.
Present.
Mark Sepiti.
Here.
Nate Albert.
Here.
And Joe Kubal.
Here.
Thank you.
Okay, you have before you the minutes of the City Council meeting held on October 17th, 2022. Motion would be in order.
Second.
We have a motion by Alderman Jefferson, seconded by Alderwoman Gazal for the approval of the October 17, 2022 Crest Hill City Council minutes. Questions or comments? Roll call, please.
Scott Dyke.
Yes.
John Verche.
Yes.
Darrell Jefferson.
Yes.
Claudia Gazal.
Yes.
Tina Oberlin.
Yes.
Mark Sepiti.
Yes.
Nate Albert.
Yes.
And Joe Kubal.
Yes.
Motion carries. Thank you.
You also have before you the minutes of the October 10th, 2022 work session. Motion would be in order.
So moved as presented.
Second.
We have a motion by Alderperson Oberlin, seconded by Alderman Jefferson for the approval of the City Council work session minutes of October 10, 2022. Questions or comments? Roll call, please.
John Verche.
Yes.
Darrell Jefferson.
Yes.
Claudia Gazal.
Yes.
Tina Oberlin.
Yes.
Mark Sepiti.
Yes.
Nate Albert.
Yes.
Joe Kubal.
Yes.
And Scott Dyke.
Yes.
Motion carries. Thank you.
And you also have before you the minutes of the Crest Hill work session held on October 24th, 2022. Motion would be in order.
So moved. Second.
We have motion by Alderwoman Gazal. Who made the second?
John.
Alderman Verche. Questions or comments of the motion on the approval of the minutes of October 24, 2022? Roll call, please.
Darrell Jefferson.
Yes.
Claudia Gazal.
Yes.
Tina Oberlin.
Yes.
Mark Sepiti.
Yes.
Nate Albert.
Yes.
Joe Kubal.
Yes.
Scott Dyke.
Yes.
John Verche.
Yes.
Motion carries. Thank you.
Okay, we do not have a business promotion this evening, so we'll move on with the agenda items. First is our city attorney, Mike Stiff. Good evening, Mike.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. I do not have any agenda items, but I will be happy to entertain any questions that you might have.
Any questions of city attorney? All right, thanks, Mike. Moving on to our city administrator, Jim Marino. Good evening, Jim.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. I have two items for you tonight. The first item is an inducement resolution. As you recall, at the October 24th council meeting, I presented an inducement resolution for the Gash and Wash development at Division and Weber. Inducement resolutions are a precursor to a redevelopment agreement that is enacted before a TIF district is established. As you know, there is not a TIF district in that area. We are working with our consultant and our TIF attorney to complete the necessary eligibility study to create the TIF. Since we can't create, the TIF is not in place and we cannot create a redevelopment agreement, we have to approve an inducement resolution that will memorialize our commitment to approving an RDA in the future. Terms of the RDA will be negotiated with the developer over the coming months. It will allow for us to reimburse the developer for construction of intersection improvements at that area and also for other reimbursable TIF eligible costs. So at this time, I would ask that you approve the inducement resolution. The schedule right now is for us to continue to work with our TIF consultant to have the TIF established in the next 4 or 5 months, which would mean once the TIF is created, then the developer can start construction work in the spring. Hopefully, end of March, beginning of April is the time frame we're looking at right now.
So basically, this is gonna delay the construction, because they stated last work session, they were hoping to start late November.
Yes, we did talk about that, and we talked about the ability to do that with our TIF consultant, TIF attorney. The problem is, in order for the property to be eligible for a TIF district, construction work cannot begin before the TIF is established. And we spoke about that with the developer, and they said they understand that.
And the other question I have is this doable, or is something that probably will not pass and then it will stop them from doing what they need to do? Is it guaranteed that this TIF will go through?
We're told by our TIF consultant that it's eligible. I mean, we have to go through the process. We have to have the public hearing, we have to have the joint review board meeting. I don't see any reason why it would not go through and be approved.
Just from past issues that we had, I just want to make sure that we're doing it the right way this time, that's all.
Well, I can tell you, we are meeting with the school district, Richland School District Superintendent, later this week to get them on board and get their support for the TIF
All
district.
right, thank you.
And then anything you do as far as the TIF agreement will come before us first.
Certainly.
Well, I'm just checking.
Do you know how long that might take?
The creation of the TIF district?
Yeah,
It usually takes 4 to 5 months.
wow. How about the people, are they happy about that or unhappy? How do they,
Who?
about the builder over there?
The developer?
Yeah,
We've spoken with them and explained this. We've had several conversations with them over the past month. So they understand the situation. They've worked with us to provide us with all the necessary documents that we need for the engineering study, for flood mitigation, detention ponds, preliminary engineering reports. So we've been working with them, with Maura and with Ron, to get all the initial studies done.
I just don't want to lose interest, that's all, you know?
As far as I know, they're still interested.
Good.
After 5 years of work, I think they are still interested.
So what happens ultimately if the TIF doesn't happen?
Well, we could discuss continuing with the project, but they're going to need or ask for reimbursement for some of the costs. And then we would have to decide if we want to reimburse them for those costs outside of the TIF increment. So that would likely mean that part of the sales tax that their development would generate would have to be rebated to them.
It will be something similar to what we did with Menards in the past.
Correct.
Okay.
Okay, this was discussed at the October 24th work session, so I ask for a motion.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion by Alderwoman Gazal, seconded by Alderman Verche to approve an inducement resolution to reimburse R.R. Crest Hill LLC for TIF-eligible expenses in the event that the Weber Division TIF district is created. Questions or comments? Roll call, please.
Tina Oberlin,
Yes.
Mark Sepiti,
Yes.
Nate Albert,
No.
Joe Kubal,
Yes.
Scott Dyke,
Yes.
John Rashay.
Yes,
Darrell Jefferson,
Yes.
Claudia Gazal.
Yes.
Motion carries, resolution 1160.
Okay, the other item I have for you relates to the construction work at the city center. This is something we spoke about at the October 17th city council meeting. At that meeting, the council approved a supplemental amendment to the appropriations ordinance in the amount of $750,000 for additional construction work and for increased costs related to the construction of the city center. In your packet is a list of change orders that need to be approved. The total amount that is being approved tonight is $241,691.29. So this is a portion of the $750,000. As other change orders are ready, those will be brought to you for approval at a later date.
So moved as presented.
Second.
Do we, Mike, do we need to do these individually, or can it be as a group?
How many are there?
7.
I would do them separately.
Okay. I will change my motion to the change order with Cosgrove Construction in the amount of $34,639.
The second?
Second. Same.
All right. I have a motion by Alderperson Oberlin, seconded by Alderman Dyke for the change order with Cosgrove Construction Incorporated, amount of $34,639. Questions or comments? Roll call, please.
Claudia Gazal,
Yes.
Tina Oberlin.
Yes.
Mark Sepiti.
Yes.
Nate Albert.
Yes.
Joe Kubal,
Yes.
Scott Dyke.
Yes.
John Rashay.
Yes.
Darrell Jefferson.
Yes.
Motion carries. Thank you.
Okay, the next one would be for a change order with D. Kersey in the amount of $11,062. Motion would be in order.
I'll make a motion.
Second.
Motion by Alderwoman Gazal, seconded by Alderperson Oberlin. Questions or comments of the motion? Roll call, please.
Mark Sepiti,
Yes.
Nate Albert.
Yes.
Joe Kubal,
Yes.
Scott Dyke.
Yes.
John Rashay.
Yes.
Darrell Jefferson,
Yes.
Claudia Gazal,
Yes.
and Tina Oberlin.
Yes.
Motion carries, thank you.
Okay, the third change order is with PT Faro in the amount of $156,079.50. Motion would be in order.
So moved as presented.
Second.
We have a motion by Alderperson Oberlin, seconded by Alderman Jefferson for a change order with PT Faro in the amount of $156,079.50. Questions or comments? Roll call, please.
Nate Albert,
Yes.
Joe Kubal,
Yes.
Scott Dyke,
Yes.
John Rashay.
Yes.
Darrell Jefferson,
Yes.
Claudia Gazal,
Yes.
Tina Oberlin,
Yes.
and Mark Sepiti.
Yes.
Motion carries, thank you.
Fourth change order would be with Corsetti Structural Steel in the amount of $5,800. Motion would be in order.
So move.
Second.
Motion by Alderwoman Gazal, seconded by Alderman Jefferson for a change order with Corsetti Structural Steel in the amount of $5,800. Questions or comments? Roll call, please.
Joe Kubal,
Yes.
Scott Dyke,
Yes.
John Rashay.
Yes.
Darrell Jefferson.
Yes.
Claudia Gazal.
Yes.
Tina Oberlin,
Yes.
Mark Sepiti,
Yes.
and Nate Albert.
Yes.
Motion carries, thank you.
The fifth change order would be with CCI Flooring in the amount of $27,706.79. Motion would be in order.
So moved as presented.
Second.
We have a motion by Alderperson Oberlin, seconded by Alderman Dyke for a change order with CCI Flooring in the amount of $27,706.79. Questions or comments? Roll call, please.
John Rashay.
Yes.
Darrell Jefferson.
Yes.
Claudia Gazal,
Yes.
Tina Oberlin,
Yes.
Mark Sepiti,
Yes.
Nate Albert,
Yes.
Joe Kubal,
Yes.
and Scott Dyke.
Yes.
Motion carries, thank you.
Six change orders with Omega Plumbing in the amount of $5,719. Motion would be in order.
So move.
Second.
Motion by Alderwoman Gazal, seconded by Alderman Dyke for a change order with Omega Plumbing in the amount of $5,719. Questions or comments? Roll call, please.
Darrell Jefferson,
Yes.
Claudia Gazal,
Yes.
Tina Oberlin,
Yes.
Mark Sepiti,
Yes.
Nate Albert,
Yes.
Joe Kubal,
Yes.
Scott Dyke,
Yes.
and John Rashay.
Yes.
Motion carries, thank you.
And the last change order is with Low Voltage Solutions in the amount of $685. Motion will be in order.
So moved as presented.
Second.
Motion by Alderman Sepiti, seconded by Alderman Jefferson for a change order with Low Voltage Solutions in the amount of $685. Questions or comments? Roll call, please.
Scott Dyke,
Yes.
John Rashay.
Yes.
Darrell Jefferson.
Yes.
Claudia Gazal,
Yes.
Tina Oberlin,
Yes.
Mark Sepiti.
Yes.
Nate Albert,
Yes.
and Joe Kubal.
Yes.
Motion carries, thank you.
That's all I have.
Okay, any questions of City Administrator? Great, thanks, Jim. Moving on to Public Works Department, our Director of Public Works, Mark Seifert. Good evening, Mark.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. I have three agenda items before you this evening. The first is an ordinance declaring certain property in the city of Crest Hill to be surplus. The first item is 2 Goodyear tires that were from the big wheel that we surplused earlier this year. A 6-foot scraper from an old tractor, an old mower deck, and an old generator from an old well house. With that, I'd ask for your concurrence in approving this ordinance.
So moved as presented.
Second.
We have a motion by Alderperson Oberlin, seconded by Alderman Jefferson, to approve an ordinance authorizing the disposal of surplus personal property owned by the city of Crest Hill, Will County, Illinois. Questions or comments? Roll call, please.
Claudia Gazal,
Yes.
Tina Oberlin,
Yes.
Mark Sepiti.
Yes.
Nate Albert,
Yes.
Joe Kubal,
Yes.
Scott Dyke,
Yes.
John Rashay.
Yes.
John Rashay,
Yes.
Darrell Jefferson.
Yes.
Motion carries, ordinance 1934.
The next agenda item I have before you this evening is pay request number 3 from Williams Brothers Construction Incorporated, with direction to send it to the IEPA for approval and disbursement for a total of $80,951.49. This is also later in the list of bills. Once again, this will be the third in line of many for the East Phosphorus project, where we will be getting reimbursed for these payments.
Motion would be in order.
So move.
Second.
We have a motion by Alderwoman Gazal, seconded by Alderperson Oberlin for an approval of pay request number 3 from Williams Brother Construction Incorporated with direction to send it to the IEPA for approval and disbursement for a total of $80,951.49. Questions or comments? Roll call, please.
Mark Sepiti,
Yes.
Nate Albert,
Yes.
Joe Kubal,
Yes.
Scott Dyke,
Yes.
John Burchett.
Yes.
Darrell Jefferson,
Yes.
Claudia Gazal,
Yes.
Tina Oberlin.
Yes.
Motion carries, thank you. And the last ordinance was actually ordinance 1933.
The final agenda item I have before you this evening is the approval of a notice to award a contract to Vissering Construction of Streeter, Illinois, in an IPA loan-funded amount of $50,640,000. In speaking to council a month ago, or about a month and a half ago at this point, we went over the payment structure and the need for West Plant to get redone. Obviously, the bids did come a little over expected, but the city along with Strand Engineering have come up with a plan. We worked with our finance department, Lisa and Glenn, to come up with a plan where we can sustain this. And this was all built into the water rate study that has been implemented this last May. As you all know, West Plant was originally built in 1960 with an upgrade in the late 80s, early 90s. And the West Plant is in dire need of a rehabilitation. This will allow the West Plant to serve a majority of the city's wastewater for the coming generations. We just received notice from the IEPA of an approved loan. So this is the next step, the approval to award. Mike is here tonight to take the signed paperwork to Streeter in the morning to drop it off. Mike Ott, not Mike Stiff, I apologize. Mike Stiff is driving it to Streeter right away to get this to them because they had to hold it till November 9th. And then we'll be bringing back the signed contracts along with the change order for a reduction in cost.
And these IEPA loans are at a low percent. I mean, I would like people to know.
Yes, so we received a 30-year loan at 0.65%,
Which is wonderful.
which is wonderful. And with that, I ask for your approval of
So
the notice
moved
of
as
award.
presented.
Second.
We have a motion by Alderperson Oberlin, seconded by Alderwoman Gazal for approval of a notice to award contract to Vissering Construction of Streeter, Illinois, and IEPA loan-funded amount of $50,640,000. Questions or comments?
Well, I'd like to thank Mark and Lisa and Glenn for all their work on this and for arranging this and getting these low-cost loans in order, and everybody else who participated. I know it took a lot of effort, and I, for one, greatly appreciate it.
Thank you.
Roll call, please.
Joe Kubal,
Yes.
Scott Dyke,
Yes.
John Burchett,
Yes.
Darrell Jefferson,
Yes.
Claudia Gazal,
Yes.
Tina Oberlin.
Yes.
Mark Sepiti,
Yes.
and Nate Albert.
Yes.
Motion carries, thank you.
The last item I have is I am ecstatic to announce that December 4th, or December 3rd, I'm sorry, December 3rd will be our third annual Christmas parade through the neighborhoods. It'll start at 10 a.m. It'll go through every neighborhood in town. Public Works, along with our police department and Lockport Township Fire, will be escorting Santa and Mrs. Claus throughout town this year. It'll start at 10 a.m. from our Public Works building. The route will be released a little closer to the event. You can find more information on our Facebook page. The flyer just went out today. And then on the website, there will be a page dedicated to the Christmas parade, just so residents have a spot to find the route. With that, I'd be happy to entertain any questions.
Questions of Public Works?
Thank you for doing that. I have a quick question for you. Any time frame on the hiring?
For the wastewater lead operator,
No, and for Public Works.
so the only job we have out right now is the wastewater lead operator.
Okay.
And at this point, we have not received any applications. We're having a little bit of trouble with the salary scale in terms of what we're offering compared to what surrounding operators make. So I would be probably bringing that back before you within the coming month.
Thank you.
Any other questions? All right, thanks, Mark. Moving on to our city engineer, Ron Wiedemann. Good evening, Ron.
Thank you, Mayor. I just have a couple items tonight. First item is looking for a motion to award the contract to Austin Tyler Construction, Inc. for the Highland and Core Retaining Wall Replacement Project in the amount of $102,102. This project will be reimbursed once completed, up to $65,000 through the Rebuild Illinois program. So Lisa and I will be preparing that paperwork once the project is completed for that reimbursement. The work will be done at the northeast and northwest corner of Highland. Those two walls will be removed completely. Sidewalks adjusted so that we can grade out the slope so no future wall will have to go back. The northeast wall at Cora also will be removed, and I've worked with the property owner. He's given us an easement. We're going to grade back into his yard, provide a 6-to-1 slope into his yard, and also eliminate those two walls so we won't have any future maintenance on those walls. We did get 3 bids in, and the low bid was very close to our engineering estimate. I think we were at 96 or 98, somewhere in that neighborhood. So unless anybody has any other questions.
So moved. Second.
We have a motion. Motion by Alderman Dyke, seconded by Alderman Jefferson, to award the contract to Austin Tyler Construction Incorporated in the amount of $102,102 for the Highland Avenue and Cora Street retaining wall project and approve the relocation of a ComEd power pole in conflict with work at Highland Avenue. Questions or comments?
Yeah, can I ask Ron? On Highland Avenue, can't they just terrace that down there rather than put a wall over there?
That's what we're doing.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna slide the sidewalk a little bit closer to the street. It gives us just enough room to put in, at minimum, 4-to-1 slope. Some areas will be 5-to-1 or greater. So that's exactly what we're gonna do.
Okay.
Roll call.
Mark Sepiti,
Yes.
Nate Albert.
Yes.
Joe Kubal.
Yes.
Scott Dyke.
Yes.
John Burchett.
Yes.
Darrell Jefferson.
Yes.
Claudia Gazal.
Yes.
And Tina Oberlin.
Yes.
Motion carries, thank you.
Second item I have is looking for a motion to approve the work by ComEd to relocate an existing power pole at the northeast corner of Theodore and Highland for the amount of $5,700. This pole ends up in our grading area, so we're gonna expose it. So it needs to be relocated as part of this project.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Alderman Dyke, seconded by Alderman Verche for the approval of relocating the ComEd pole at Highland Avenue. Questions or comments? Roll call, please.
Darrell Jefferson.
Yes.
Claudia Gazal.
Yes.
Tina Oberlin.
Yes.
Mark Sepiti.
Yes.
Nate Albert.
Yes.
Joe Kubal.
Yes.
Scott Dyke.
Yes.
John Burchett.
Yes.
Motion carries, thank you.
That's all I have unless council has any questions for me.
For that last retaining wall, the only one that's left would be the one at Rayner, between Rayner and Kelly?
We have the other side of Cora. We got the Rayner and Kelly. And I'll be trying to get that in the budget next year to design those to see what we can do there. Those are a little bit taller.
Yeah.
So I don't think we can eliminate those, but obviously get those replaced out. So it probably won't be, I'm looking to try to do design work next year and then the construction probably the following year.
All right, good.
Ron, the dangerous intersection we pointed out before at Knapp and Weber,
Yes.
still has that street light out up above it. You know, when you're trying to make a left-hand turn off Weber, it's, you know, to me, you know, maybe you can take a look at that. Do you
Yeah, I'll
know
take a
anything?
look. I know ComEd was called. It's ComEd Light.
Yeah,
I know
it's been out for quite a long
Yeah,
time.
I know. I can reach. I
Yeah.
can send another request to them. You know, see where they're
When
at.
you
on
make
it.
that left over there, it's really dark.
Yep, it's just when that light is out.
Yeah, thank you.
Ron, Ward 2 is booming with all the painting of the fire hydrant. They already look good, just on the primer. And
That's Mark's. Yeah, that's.
Mark's,
Yep,
thank you.
yep.
I thought you both worked on that.
That's okay.
Well,
No,
thank you, Mark,
give
for
him
doing
credit
that.
for that. That's his.
Residents are finally happy to see they haven't been painted for anything more than. And all the curves that is happening on Boreal, it's,
Yeah, they're looking to pour at the end of this week, so a lot of that should be closed up before the weather turns next week. I actually met with them today also to discuss the extension of the sidewalk across the park property at City Hall today, so they should be excavating that out and also pouring that by the end of this week also.
okay, thank you.
Okay, thanks, Ron. All right, moving on to community development. We have an agenda item of approval of the Heidner property at the northwest corner of Division and Weber, a special use plan unit development and drive-through facilities. You have all the information in your packet. We did talk about this last week at the October 24th work session. I will turn it over to our planner, Maura Ragoni. Maura?
Thank you, Mayor. As stated, that before you this evening is an approval ordinance for the property at the northwest corner of Division and Weber. It's a special use for planning and development in 3 drive-through facilities. We did present this at the October 24th work session. It includes a gas and wash in the corner, a retail building, then going north, a quick serve restaurant, as well as then a future retail development site. This will also include the extension of Randitch Road and then kind of a ring road that will lead out from Randitch to Division. In your packet this evening are all of the plans that have been included, which includes the site plan, elevation, signage for gas and wash, site plans and elevations, and proposed signage for the retail building. Please note that there is no architectural plans for the quick service or the future retail building. Those will have to come back before you. We've also been working with the developer, including covenants, restrictions, final engineering, as well as the final plat. The final plat is before you tonight as part of the motion for council action, subject to final engineering, as we are still finalizing engineering to ensure that all easements are in place. In the memo, as well as in the approval ordinance, are the conditions that we've placed. A number of these are ensuring the future development, relating to the PUD, as well as building material requirements, buffering requirements as well. All of them are those that were outlined as recommended by the Plan Commission, with some additional ones that we've outlined in italics on the front cover of the memo. I'm here if there's any other additional questions or comments.
So the newer changes are the one in bold color, correct? Number
Correct.
13 to 15?
Correct. I did go ahead and bold and italicize those. Those were just kind of some of our safeguards that we currently have, since we did not have architecture for the other buildings. I wanted to include that the facade was in there, as well as then, because we don't know what the balance of the property to the west is going to be, as it is currently zoned commercial. Technically, buffering wouldn't be required, but if future should have residential, I wanted to ensure that that would be done at that time. And then also just ensuring that we do have that Randitch Road extension at a given point in time.
Any other questions of Maura?
You said buffering, if the piece of property west or developed residential,
Correct.
buffering would be, what would an example be of buffering in that situation?
Your landscape ordinance requires that when there's incompatible uses between commercial and residential, that they do buffer that. They do provide a certain number of landscape planting requirements or berming or so forth, without knowing the exact design in that area, but wanting to ensure that if it does go residential at that portion, that we do keep in mind that that requirement will be withheld, as we want to protect any of your future residents to the west. So it's just purely landscape buffering. Okay. They're there.
I bet.
On camera
Mike,
too?
need some coffee.
No, I need to throw my drafts out and use the final.
The attorney was noting that those conditions that we had previously discussed, but that in the interim wanted to include those other ones. So that was just simply just to ensure that those additional conditions are on there.
I have a question about the intersection, Randitch and Weber.
Okay.
Traffic will be able to turn to the south, or they'll be able to turn to the north, leaving that intersection?
When the Randitch Road is extended, so it'll be an extension from the current, there's a current light now, and as you've noticed on the west side of Weber Road, there's kind of an entryway as if it's looking like the extension. So yes, when that will be, it will be designed to the full specs to be able to go north and to be able to go south and straight.
Okay.
Yeah, that's currently under review at the county, because Weber Road is a county road, so that has to be vetted through the county, that intersection as well. And we've known that they've submitted their plans, they're under review. I think they've gone through 1 or 2 reviews already.
And I noticed it's a right in and a right out, so I guess they'll do a little reconstruction there to make left turn.
For the Randage Road extension? Well, the Randage Road extension is further north. So on the gas and wash plans, the right in, right out is only theirs. But if we look at the retail building portion, those developments that has lots 2, 3, and 4, you'll see the Randage Road, which will give full access, mirroring that which is across the street.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, I see several individuals from the development. If anyone would like to come to the podium and add anything before I ask for a motion? No? Len? To the podium, please.
Hi, I'm Len McHenry, the owner of Gas and Wash. Thanks for having us tonight, and we're looking forward to get the project started, and we appreciate your support, and we're a good neighbor and I think pretty easy to work with, and love to be here.
And I will make my comments that I made at the work session, that you have about 20 other gas and washes throughout several of our surrounding communities. They are first class, they are very well maintained, they're clean, they are attractive, and they're well run. And I believe that the development of 16 acres on this corner will be a tremendous asset and boom for the city of Crest Hill. And hopefully it will be an incentive for the remaining 60 acres for some additional growth also.
It will be.
I believe it will be. With that, I will ask if there's any questions of the owner, Len McHenry.
Well, I'm certainly in favor of developing on that corner as well as many other locations in the city. I just have some concerns with the added traffic, in particular the truck traffic, as it will affect residents in that area, and also the likely increase of traffic on Division, which is already getting beat up pretty bad by trucks. So that's my concern with this development, but I don't have any doubt that you run a good operation. I'm just concerned at that location.
My
Can I make a comment on
understanding,
it?
it's only exit right and left on Weber, not on Division. Correct?
Division is what we call a three
The
quarters.
trucks
There's
were
a
not-
there's a left in, so if you were eastbound, you could make a left in, and then it's a right in, right out. So that you're not making a left turn
Correct.
headed towards Weber.
I thought we discussed that last meeting.
Correct. I also look at these places, we look at them as, we're not a traffic generator. We service the traffic that drives by us. We're not, a truck, for example, a truck on I-80 isn't gonna stop and get off and come down to, a so-called gas station. They're up at the Pilots and Loves and TAs, but there's a number of trucks and delivery trucks that are up and down Weber, and there's some trucks to the west of us. Hopefully we can service some of them. Some of those, I think, have on-site fueling. We have tanks in the yard, so they won't be stopping to fuel with us, but unless they stop to get something to eat. But, yeah, I don't see any more trucks in the area or cars in the area than it's already there.
You're not a destination, you're a pass-by.
There you go.
Len, couple of questions that I have, and just so I can kind of clear my thought process here after the work session last week. Many of your locations, do they have the diesel fueling stations in most cases, or are they usually just kind of more of the automobile pumps?
Are you asking if we have truck fueling lanes in most of the locations?
Most of your locations, yes.
Or just diesel pumps out with the gas pumps? Most of them have truck fueling lanes or commercial fueling lanes.
My concern is a couple of things. Like I mentioned last week, I feel as though automobiles and trucks do not mix very well when they're using the same entrance and exits. The trucks are going to be coming down, ideally down south on Weber. You'll be turning into this right in, right out at your location, whether it's on the Weber roadside or on the Division side. Cars will also be pulling in there. One of the other locations that we have, they have a completely separate entrance for the semi-trucks, which I wasn't a big fan of that plan either, but so be it, that's what's in place. I'm not in favor of these intermixing on this property. I said that last week and I continue to say that. My other fear is that for any of these trucks to go northbound, they have to go all the way up to Randage Road, which is, again, a quarter mile north of Division Street, which is now introducing more trucks in ideally a residential area, if we develop it residential on the west side of that. And also the residential that's immediately across the street on Randage, kind of on the north side. So I'm not in favor of the plan as it is with the diesel fueling stations. The other issue that I see, and I see it at our speedway, is that the trucks don't just come, fuel up, and leave. For some reason or another, the trucks are hanging out, whether they're video gaming on the inside or whatever, or getting a bite to eat. What avenues, what tools do you have in place to be able to get the trucks to fuel up and get off the property? Because my other fear is that they're gonna be stacking there, and then they're gonna be blocking that entrance, and you know, all those things that just kind of spiral when the trucks don't leave the property.
In a typical gas and wash, there is not that kind of truck traffic. There, you know, in the couple truck stops in Joliet that we have, there's a lot of trucks. They park overnight. There's no overnight parking here. We could sign it where they could park for an hour, 30 minutes. We don't build these places for trucks to park on them. You know, we want them to stop, fuel, buy something, and be on their way. We definitely don't want trucks parking there for long periods of time. We haven't had any issues with the trucks that come in and out, coming in the same entrance. I think when they're on site, they should be separated, like you say. You know, we don't want trucks or big delivery trucks in there with the autos. We want to keep them separate, and as they're separate here. But coming in, we just haven't had any problems with that.
When you say something like you put a sign up that says limits it for an hour, but there's nowhere for them to actually idle or to park as it is, so that's part of my fear, is that they're just going to stack up on the property waiting to go to their next destination or whatever it may be.
I just don't see that.
The next question, Ron, and I just want to clarify this because we talked about it last week, but we at one time when we were working with the comprehensive plan for Division Street, we talked about if we got an extension of Weber Road farther south, that we wouldn't have truck traffic on that stretch of Division Street.
Mm-hmm.
Well, this is introducing truck traffic onto Division Street.
It's not introducing any additional truck traffic on Division. It's not there now. That's, as you said, this facility is not generating traffic. It's just traffic that's already there. But what happened at that point is when that truck route becomes functionable, it'll change the way that they're going to get into the business park. So they'll have to come back out on Weber to go to Crest Hill Drive or whatever we're going to name it at that point to come in instead of making a right out on Division. So.
And I understand that, but that's part of my fear, was that this right in, right out. Now you're having trucks basically turn around, either go to Division Street or the right in, right out, try to get back onto Weber. You're again introducing trucks, and the flow of it's not.
Well, in the most part, they have separated vehicle. The only entrance that is could potentially be used on Weber is that right in, right out. But they've created a separate pedestrian right in, right out on Division. And also when they turn the new access road that's coming on Division, there's also a new roadway that goes in that will help separate the cars and the vehicles when they're on site. So, I mean, you're correct in that the right in, right out on Weber, you're gonna get a little bit of both. But I mean, I've seen that at several places that he has, and I haven't seen an issue with it. But there are there's other locations where the cars are actually gonna go, because they're gonna wanna get away from the truck traffic. So, again, there's other entrances and exits for them to use.
Okay, thank you.
Anybody else?
I don't have a question. I just want to say that I stopped at your facility over the weekend on Laraway Road, and I was very pleased with the customer service and the cleanliness of the place and the way the traffic flowed. So, just being a little nosy, I stuck around a little longer than I had to. So, and I was not disappointed. I want to say I think you'll be a welcome addition.
Thank you.
I want to also echo what Alderman Jeffers said. We look forward to having you in Crest Hill, and I've seen some of your car wash and gas stations very well maintained.
Thank you. We're looking forward to it.
Okay, motion would be in order.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion by Alderwoman Gazal, seconded by Alderman Verche, for the approval of the Heidner property at the northwest corner of Division and Weber, special use planned unit development and drive-through facilities for the construction of a gas and wash and 2 strip malls. Questions or comments? Roll call, please.
Tina Oberlin?
Yes.
Mark Sepiti?
No.
Nate Albert?
No.
Joe Kubal?
Yes.
Scott Dyke?
Yes.
John Verche?
Yes.
Darrell Jefferson?
Yes.
Claudia Gazal?
Yes.
Motion carries ordinance 1934.
Okay, it's been a long road, it's been a long time, but hopefully we have some resolution here and we will move forward. Hopefully we'll have shovels in the ground come April. And I would think that maybe the gas station would be up and running by fall of 2023.
I may. Just kidding.
So, welcome to the city of Crest Hill.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Board.
All right, thank you. All right, Police Department, our Police Chief, Ed Clark. Good evening, Ed.
Evening, Mayor and Council. I do not have anything on the agenda this evening. However, your 2-week informational report is in your packet. I'll entertain any questions.
Any questions of the Police Chief?
Yes, Chief, I received a phone call from a resident. They have a concern with the safety at the intersection of Ardaw and Gaylord. And I have to say that I agree, because I see issues at that location quite often. The issues arise when there are parked cars in that first block at where Ardaw.
It's like a half block.
It's like a T intersection, there's a
Mhm.
half
Short,
block
yeah.
there.
Mhm.
And when there's cars parked on that corner, both the traffic coming out of Ardaw, wanting to go onto Gaylord, and then consequently motorists from Gaylord coming into that intersection at Ardaw, they're forced to go into the center of the street to avoid those parked cars. And they're coming off of Gaylord, so quite often they're going at a pretty good rate of speed. And the car that's coming from Ardaw has to avoid the parked cars. And I've seen many near misses at that intersection, especially in the evenings and on weekends when people are home. You see a lot of cars parked in that little short block there.
Okay. I'll take a look at that intersection. I'll look at some of the traffic crash data from there, and I'll come back and talk to you.
Okay.
Especially the, I think it would be the north side of the street. Would it be north? Yeah, because and there's been a huge truck park there a lot lately. That's
Truck,
really
yeah.
blocking visuals. I go that way 100 times a day, so.
You know when the truck's parked there.
Well, it's there when I go to work in the morning.
Okay.
So.
You know, even
I'll
if it
take
was
a look at
like
it.
no parking on one side of the
Yeah.
street or something, I'd hate to wait for there to be an accident and say, well, we wish we could have done something beforehand, but I appreciate you looking at it.
Definitely.
Okay, thanks, Ed.
Thank you.
Moving on to the mayor's report, I have one agenda item. It's the approval of the Will County Governmental League holiday reception. In the past years, the city has paid for the elected officials to attend the holiday party if they wish, and if they wish to bring a guest, it is the responsibility of the elected official to reimburse the city for their attendance. I would ask for a motion.
So moved, as presented.
Second.
We have a motion by Alderperson Oberlin, seconded by Alderwoman Gazal, for the approval of the Will County Governmental League reception. Questions or comments? Roll call, please.
Nate Albert,
Yes.
Joe Kubal,
Yes.
Scott Dyke,
Yes.
John Rashay.
Yes.
Darrell Jefferson,
Yes.
Claudia Gazal,
Yes.
Tina Oberlin,
Yes.
and Mark Sepiti.
Yes.
Thank you. Motion carries.
Okay, that is all the agenda items for the mayor. I do have some comments to make. The first one is I would like to recognize every city employee in the city of Crest Hill. I just want to extend my heartfelt gratitude to each and every one of our employees, because there are some very dedicated individuals at all levels of the employees of this city. I feel that they do an outstanding job in their particular fields that they are assigned to. I want to thank them for their commitment, for their dedication, and their loyalty to this city, because it is because of them that they have improved the quality of life for this city. And that goes from the top all the way down to the bottom. It goes for the police department, the public works department, the water and sewer department, the administration, the building department, the city council, the clerk's office, the treasurer's office, all the city staff, every employee that we have, and I believe we have around 69 of them. I just want to extend my gratitude. They worked through COVID, some remotely. The police department never missed a beat for 2 years with COVID. They put themselves at risk. They put their families at risk every night they were out there on the street. Everybody else has done an outstanding job to make this city a better place to live and to play and to work. So again, I want to say thank you to each and every one of them for the jobs that they do. We're a small city at some aspects. We don't have the resources that many of the other larger communities around us have. We have a limited staff in many times. And I know that many of our employees go above and beyond the work that they're supposed to do. So I just want to say thanks from the bottom of my heart to each and every one of them. The next thing that I want to say is that we had a cleanup of our Veterans and Police Memorial on October 21st. We had 14 individuals that were there to help clean up the garden, cut the daylilies, and kind of winterize it for the upcoming season. So I want to recognize the volunteers that spent their morning with us. Phyllis Powell, Marge Keller, Bill Gallagher, Glenn Conklin, Nick Parks, Joseph Gilligan, Nick Falzarano, Gary Stieg, Dave Medrich, Ray Ranke, Jerry Cummings, Dan Kuban, and Vicki Solomon. My heartfelt thanks to them. We were done in about an hour and a half. We had a beautiful morning, and thanks for their volunteerism for the veterans and the police officers of this city. A few days later, on last weekend, if you notice that all of our memorials outside of this building are gone. They have been transferred over to New City Hall. I certainly want to extend my heartfelt thanks to Paul Cabay and to Larry Pelsman from Preservation Monument Company. It took them 2 days to move all of the stones. It was a lot more labor intensive than they had expected. The ones that were put in 38 years ago were put in very, very well. And they were very, very difficult to get out. Some had to be taken apart and then put back together. I will tell you, I watched a lot of the times the work that they did. They were very meticulous. They were very patient. They were very careful with those stones. The heaviest weighed 3,600 pounds. And when I seen the crane move them onto the truck that they had, a lot of times that crane was bending. And but they took their time and they did it right. So the stones are in place. They're putting the paver blocks down now around the memorials. Then we're going to do some plantings. The light poles are in. We're going to put flag poles there. And that is going to be a wonderful focal point for our new city hall and our new police station to honor every veteran, living and deceased, and every police officer, living and deceased, that has ever worked for the city of Crest Hill. With that being said, I certainly want to extend a wish for every veteran, that you wish that veteran, come November 11th, thank him or her for the service that they provided to this country, to their community, for the sacrifices that they made with their education, the sacrifices they made for their families, to secure the freedoms that we enjoy today. We're not a perfect nation. We're probably the best in the world, and it's because of our veterans who made the ultimate sacrifice. Many of them who have passed away. It has become of them that we have the honor of living in the greatest country in the world. So not only on Veterans Day, especially on Veterans Day, but every day we should be thanking our veterans for everything that they have done for us to live in this great country. With that, I'll try to answer any questions that anybody may have. Hearing none, we'll move on to our city clerk, Christine Vercheha. Good evening, Chris.
Good evening. Just a reminder that all City of Crest Hill offices will be closed Friday, November 11th for Veterans Day. And as the mayor said, the clerk's office also would like to thank all the veterans who served and those who continue to serve for your service to our country. There's not enough thanks we could give you. And that's all I have to report.
Any questions of the clerk? All right, thanks, Chris. Moving on to our city treasurer, Glenn Conklin. Good evening, Glenn.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. I have one action item, and that's I seek approval and a motion to approve the list of bills through November 8th, 2022, in the amount of $1,853,468.57.
So moved as presented.
Second.
We have a motion by Alderperson Oberlin, seconded by Alderman Sapiti for the approval of the list of bills. Questions or comments? Roll call, please.
Claudia Gazal.
Yes.
Tina Oberlin.
Yes.
Mark Sepiti.
Yes.
Nate Albert.
Yes.
Joe Kubal.
Yes.
Scott Dyke.
Yes.
John Burchett.
Yes.
Darrell Jefferson.
Yes.
Motion carries. Thank you.
Also like to report regular and overtime payroll. This doesn't require a motion or approval. From October 10th through 2022 through October 23rd of 2022, our regular and overtime payroll totaled $241,600.69. We also had a quarterly compensation buyback through October 24th, 2022. That amount totaled $19,605.73. That's all I have for this evening, unless anyone has any questions.
Questions of city treasurer?
I had one question, Glenn. I guess it'd be for you, for Glenn and Lisa. Back in August, you provided an update with, as far as the budget goes, and also an update on the city center budget. And that was, we said I think we were gonna maybe see if we could do that quarterly. I was just wondering when we could possibly get that on an agenda to have that update again.
Next work session?
I actually sent something to Glenn today, so it'll be a 6-month recap, so we were talking about the next work session for sure. So we go through it, I think last time it was late and we didn't really get a chance to dive in, but we can take a look and see what's gonna be most helpful for you. So we can plan the next work session.
Be happy to, and appreciate your
Thank
ask.
you.
Thank you.
Okay, thanks, Len. Moving on, unfinished business, we have nothing. Anyone? New business, anyone? Committee liaison reports, anybody?
Mayor, I'd just like to announce that we're doing the holiday decorating contest again this year. I know it seems a bit early, but if you've driven down Lincoln Avenue, you see somebody starting their decorating. So this year's the contest, the awards will be presented on the December 19th City Council meeting, and the judging will take place between the 13th and the 18th of December. Last day to submit the entries is December 12th. So the forms are available online on the city's website. We'll also have some here at City Hall. Thank you.
Okay, committee liaison, city council comments. Positive city council comments, anything you'd like to share with any of your constituents? Anybody first? You?
Sure.
We'll begin with Ward 2, Alderperson Gazal.
Well, I would just want to add, Mayor, on what you made comment about staff. I also want to add that we are short-staffed, and for the last 2 years, been lots of changes in here. And it's not easy to keep up with changes, so staff has been very, very understanding. Some of them are frustrated, but they still come in here, they're still doing the job. And I'm hoping in the near future, we cover all these shortage and we can hire what we need to hire to continue providing the service that we're looking for, all of us. Also, just a reminder, tomorrow is voting day. Go ahead and exercise your vote. If you want to complain, you gotta vote so you can earn your complaint. Saturday, we held the pop-up pantry. Even though it was super windy, crazy, and rain, I was happy to see they did not cancel it. We had 111 families that they came through, and they also, we offer 210 children, they give them extra packages of special need for schools and for everyday needs. I want to thank Becky with Aurora Food Pantry for continuing on working with us here in the city to provide some food, some happiness. This year we offer 11 bikes. Some of the kids' faces when they saw the bikes, so and toys this year. So this is a new addition that they added. So I want to thank also a resident that she saw up, Carol Southern from Ward 2. She came to volunteer to help. She didn't mind the wind and the rain. And also Calvary Church for continuing on believing in my vision. So thank you to all for your time and dedication.
Well, Claudia, I just want to thank you for organizing it all. It's much appreciated.
Thank you.
I'm sure that all the residents that benefit would like to thank you as well. So
Thank you.
I'll say it for them.
Thank you.
Alderman Jefferson?
Nothing at this time.
Alderman Verche?
Yes, tomorrow is voters' day. Everybody go out to vote. If you don't vote, you have no opinion to complain. Do your duties. Thank you.
Alderman Dyke?
Nothing to add to what's already been said.
Alderman Kubal?
Mayor, I'd also like to express my gratitude to all the veterans out there for their service at this special time of the year.
Alderman Elbert?
Nothing at this time, Mayor.
Alderman Sapiti?
Nothing at this time.
Alderperson Oberlin?
Well, I would also like to thank all our veterans, and I would like to remind especially all the women out there, in the immortal words of Virginia Slims, you've come a long way, baby, and we don't want to go backwards. So get out and vote because it matters, and the women's voice matters. So let's hear it loud and clear tomorrow.
Okay, public comment. Anyone like to address City Council, please step to the podium, state your name for the record. Your address is optional.
Linda Dyke, 1700 Kelly Avenue. I just would like, I have another staff of violations, but I want to say that I never seen so much get done so fast. To the chief, thank you. I've seen cars towed, tagged, cleaned up, gone, fences fixed, garbage. I've had people see me riding at night after work and say, I looked at this pile forever. Thank you. So if it took me coming here to get this going, I'm gonna keep going. I'm into Ward, almost to St. Ambrose Church. And every morning and every night, and the weekends. And it looks good. A lot of it looks good. So, nobody's gonna tell me thanks, but I'll thank
Well, I'll
myself.
say thank you, Linda.
Here you go.
I think you should be on the payroll for crying out loud.
Well, I'm trying. We looked at it a long time, and I think that it's time that you want to be proud of where you live.
Yep.
You don't want to ride down the street and say, look at this, look at that. It's looking better. People are taking pride in it. I don't know what kind of letter you sent out. Thank you. Sheds, fences. I've seen people with fences. I've looked at this for years, kitty corner for me, and I'm like, wow, it's getting done, so, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Anybody else? State your name for the record, address is optional. Let the record show that no one has approached the podium. To our city attorney, Mike, is there any need for an executive session?
There is not.
Motion to adjourn.
We have a motion for an adjournment by Alderman Dyke, seconded by Alderman Verche. Questions or comments? Roll call, please.
Darrell Jefferson.
Yes.
Claudia Gazal.
Yes.
Tina Oberlin.
Yes.
Mark Sepini.
Yes.
Nate Albert.
Yes.
Joe Kubal.
Yes.
Scott Dyke.
Yes.
John Rashay.
Yes.
Motion carries, thank you.
We can just
All right,
keep
meeting
it
is
on-
adjourned
on
at
account, 'cause he's
8:02.
probably gonna
Thank you,
switch the next
everyone.
time.